Apollo is a new frontline movement character added to Deadlock in the Old Gods New Blood update. He uses his abilities to disrupt the frontline and counter the enemy hero with Riposte. Here's a full ability breakdown, his best items and more. Let's get right into it. Apollo voters, you finally won because there was no other hero to vote for. Congrats! This character has insane aura and is the hardest character in the game. And I've only checked out the abilities just now, but this character has insane skill ceiling and I think, dare I say, the numbers seem kind of overtuned. This is a spirit nuker slash close range counter character. And there's gonna be a lot to talk about with these abilities because the abilities, all of them have like very intricate like effects, okay? The weapon, it is a sword and it shoots projectiles and the range seems pretty far and you can headshot with it. So yeah, actually quite, I wanna say quite high damage weapon and 15 ammo seems pretty good. So number one is a Disengaging Sigil, where he just draws a sigil in front of him and then he leaps backwards and you deal damage in front of you, okay? Upgrades are 30 extra damage, 20% fire rate and bullet speed after for 10 seconds. On max level, you restore 2 stamina and you reset your air and dash limit, okay? So you can go in, use this, and then like keep on dashing out. You can move, but it doesn't give you like a movement speed instantly. So you're gonna be very slow at dashing away after. But you can. So you can dash in or out. And again, on max level, even if I use all my stamina up, right? I can use this. And then I'm back, baby. So that's like the least overpowered ability. Number 2 is Riposte. And this is where this character gets really hard. So this is basically a deflect, okay? And what it does is, when you deflect any attack of the enemy, that's melees, that's gun, or any ability, you will become invulnerable for 0.3 seconds. So think of this as like a better counter spell. Plus, after you dash forward and you stun the enemy, plus it lowers their bullet resist. Upgrades, more bullet shred, more cooldown, and on max level, more stun duration. And this is what this would look like. I'll just show this off. You can parry anything in the game, again. So you can do stuff like parrying 7 stun while it's being cast. And this is what it looks like. But you can also stun or parry the end of it. Right? So you don't have to necessarily like perfectly time it when the 7 is about to stun you. If the 7 puts stun on you, you time it properly, you riposte, and then you dash forward and you stun the enemy. Now, where this gets complicated is you can turn around 360 while performing the riposte, okay? So you can technically counter something like an Abrams charge and then 180 and stun him behind you. And I still haven't figured, like I still haven't managed to hit this once. I'll try it now, but I'll try it off real quick. So if the Abrams were to charge you, you can riposte it, right? And then you have to perfect, it seems like frame perfect timing. You can turn right after the riposte and go into any direction. But this seems incredibly hard to pull off. Like, it's very hard. But if you hit it, right, that would be absolutely insane. There's gonna be a lot of abilities that you can riposte where the enemy is not gonna be right in front of you. And the skill ceiling of this ability will be hitting the enemy right after, you know, you count it as spell. So the hard part about this ability is not gonna use the timing properly. The timing is pretty forgiving, right? It's not quite as... Yeah, it seems like the same duration as a counter spell. It's more so hitting the enemy after they pull off the ability. And yeah, this is incredibly hard. There you go. And again, you can try this out yourself. I'm sure you will. But it seems very unforgiving. But if you hit it, it's obviously insane, right? Like, ability number 3 is called Flawless Advance. And it says perform a series of lunges into any direction. And it stabs in front of you. And you hold down your ability key, your 3 key basically. And there's going to be a little window. And if you hit the perfect timing, it will do bonus damage, bonus perfect damage. And once you level this up once, it also will heal you, okay? And then level 2 will increase the lunge speed, so you will get to the perfect lunge faster. And on max level, it's gonna increase the perfect damage and increase the spirit scaling. And I wanna say, looking at the abilities, this is probably what you're gonna max first. Because the scaling this ability has on max level and the damage is crazy. And it's not really that hard to hit this ability. So what you do is you hold it down. And when the circle hits the green circle, it's gonna be very obvious. This is when you do the full damage that will heal you and deal bonus damage, okay? The crazy part is, when you initiate the first lunge, which by the way you have 3 lunges per attack. When you initiate the first lunge, you can hold any arrow key or even jump upwards. And it's gonna direct you this way. So you can do stuff like this. And then you can chain them into any direction, basically. And what you want to do is, as soon as you initiate the second and the third lunge, you want to have a direction you want to go, and which means you can basically dodge enemy attacks while casting this, right? Because obviously there's going to be a bit of a downtime until you can hit the perfect lunge. But yeah, this ability on max level seems absolutely crazy. Because the scaling is crazy on 1.9 spirit scaling on the perfect damage plus 0.8 spirit scaling on the heal, right? So you will 100% build raw spirit on this character. But it gets even more crazy. This is Itani Lo Sahn, and I probably mispronounced that. I don't know which language this is. And this is the anime attack of this game. It charges up and performs a long-range slash. Stuck enemies are cursed and slowed in motion, and when this effect expires, you deal devastating damage. And you will deal bonus damage, 100%, so double the damage if the enemy is below 50% health. I mean, that is actual cinema. That is actual cinema. Now, you can hold this ability down, okay? The range on this is crazy. And you will always end up at the maximum range after, right? You will be untargetable after you cast it, but you will always end up at the max range and then pop out of the shadows like a second after. I have tried using stuff like looking down, but even then, you will still end up at the maximum distance, okay? And yeah, obviously, this is like the finisher slash you can hit multiple enemies slash it goes so far, right, that you can do like some crazy shit like come in, cast this. That went so far. Why did it go so far? Yeah, so seems crazy. And again, even this ability has insane spirit scaling. So spirit slash tanky is gonna be king on this character. And if we look at the base build, I think Valve agrees. A lot of spirit burst abilities and Torment Pulse seems random until you realize this works in the ultimate. So when you cast the ultimate, your shadow is gonna Torment Pulse during the cast. And I think you can see this easier when I'm in the air, but I'll just look at the endpoint of my ability.
Leave them to me.
Torment Pulse is ticking during this. And obviously all the way after. And this character wants to be close range, right? All the abilities are very close range, right? The 1 is basically melee range. The 2 is a counter. Which, again, you want to probably use on like close range characters because you want to stun them right after. And then the 3 is actually quite a big, like it's very deceiving. It's a very long range ability. So this hits. So the difficulty of this character will really be deciding on when you want to use the Flawless Advance. Because again, on the 3, I'll show this off. Once you use it once, you have quite a few seconds to cast the second one. And then you can reset the timer and use the third one. So you can weave in other abilities while you use your 3, right? Counter something, and then go Flawless Advance again, right? And then a third time. So this character will be the hardest character in the game to master, I want to say. I think he, like the numbers wise, he looks very overtuned. I'm gonna play him in a second. Numbers wise, he looks very overtuned. But to master this character is gonna take a lot. I think there's gonna be some crazy shit we're gonna see. But he will be hard to master, 100%. I can't think of another character that has that in-depth of like a skill ceiling to him. Yeah, he's like a harder Yamato, but like I think he's gonna be overtuned. So what are the items you want to buy on this? Again, If you're watching on YouTube, I will make a build and it will be updated and I'll post it in the comments. But first impressions on what items you want to buy. Tom and Pull seems like a no-brainer. And again, Improved Spirit or any raw spirit seems like a no-brainer, right? You can run stuff like Mystic Burst or Mystic Regeneration early. You can run movement. Stamina Mastery is an insane item, right? So I want to say this is like the best default build they've put out so far for the new characters, I want to say. Because most of these items look crazy. I don't know if I would run Close Quarters. We'll see about that if we run any damage at all. Or if we just go monster rounds. But yeah, Mystic Regen is also going to be crazy on this, right? Because you have a lot of abilities to use. And again, if you chain this properly, you can make good use of Mystic Regen, right? You can go in, lunge, right? And because Flawless Advance has such a pretty long time that you can cast it with, we can do other things in between, right? And then like at the very end, go for another Flawless. And even that, I just realized is pretty hard. Because it's not when you start the animation, it's when you end the animation. So you want to start it a bit before the 3 runs out. So you want to have enough time to get the Flawless in, and then reset the Flawless, basically. That crazy character. I mean, he will be a spirit character, but you will definitely have to build him tanky. Because, by the way, on base, he doesn't have that much HP. And even on max level, I mean, it's more than like something like Celeste, but it's not a lot of HP. This is not tank HP, but this character needs to be close to use a lot of his abilities. So you will definitely buy quite a few green items. But yeah, the skill ceiling on this is gonna be crazy. Like imagine having counter spell and riposte at the same time, right? Raw spirit, improved spirit, maybe even improved spirit on lane. I kinda, what I'm gonna try, for my first game, and this might very well turn out to be the meta, is going early 4.8k spirit investment in lane, just so you do a lot of damage. And for ability skills, again, the one is very weird because it gives you fire rate and bullet speed, but I really feel like most of the time you will use a lot of abilities and not really your auto attack, right? So I would probably get 1 point in the sigil for the extra damage, and which, by the way, is that real? What is that damage on base? That shit does 130 damage on base. On a 12-second cooldown. That is crazy in lane, by the way. That is one of the highest damage abilities early with such a low cooldown, right? It's 12 seconds. That is very crazy in lane. So 1 point in the 1. And then it's probably always worth it to have riposte up more often. So you'll get 1 point in the 2 just to have that counter. And again, this counters everything. So playing against this character is going to be incredibly annoying because as soon as you shoot him, he can counter and stun you, right? So 1 point in this. And then I want to say you will probably max the 3 first. It just seems like the strongest ability to max. Ult, you know, seems fine, but like you don't need a bit, like the range on base is really high already. I don't think you need that more dash range. Like this is base. This is base range. Right? And that's like already crazy radius. So I do want to say like the ult is probably not important. Like you're probably gonna max the 3. Because A, it gives you sustain on the first level, right? Which is always good in lane. And then you have cooldown reduction. So you can use this every 16 seconds. Plus lunge speed means you charge faster, right? You charge to the maximum or the perfect damage faster. And then the max level seems crazy, right? Because if you get early 4.8k spirit investment, this does insane damage. I just want to show this off. Like, let's say we are building early spirit and we're going like Mystic Burst and the usual like items you could get. Like, let's get Mystic Regen because I do think Radiant Regen will be good on this character, right? So we go for early 4.8k investment and I'm gonna level him up to that amount. And let's just see how much damage the 3 does. Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy damage. This is crazy damage. And I know these are level 1 bots, right? But like, keep in mind, I really don't have that much money, right? Like, Abrams is a tanky character. Yeah, I mean, that is crazy damage. Ready to strike. Yeah, you can slowing X anything in the game. It works like counter spell. You can sorry, not slowing X. You can riposte anything in the game. So, first impressions. Insanely high skill ceiling. Probably gonna be insanely busted. Probably will get nerfed. By the way, for the people wondering, now that all the heroes are out, I think we'll get a balance patch, a first big balance patch with the new heroes in the next few days. Maybe not tomorrow, but probably Sunday or Monday is going to be the first adjustment. So abuse this while you can. I think it's going to be incredibly broken. And yeah, Valve cooked, I think. Yeah, this character might somehow be more broken than Celeste, which sounds impossible, but we'll see now.